Hello everyone, welcome to Audit Course Lab 15A. Today we are going to analyze the voltage divider bias circuit in LT-Spice. So let us start. So this is my voltage divider bias circuit given using NPN BJT. So we have resistor R1 as 10K, R2 as 1.5K, RC as 1K, and RE as 150 ohms. And we have, this BJT is powered by a VCC source, which is of 10 volts. Here it is not written, but it is 10 volts. So why do we require biasing? So basically, biasing will make sure that the transistor is operating in a particular region, that is in the active region, basically. So here we will have to find the various terminal currents, that is IB, IC and IE, and the various node voltages VC, VB and VE in LT-Spice. So first of all, let us theoretically solve the values of IB, IE and IC and find the Q point for the circuit. So for doing that, we need to apply the Thevenin's equivalent at the base side, at the base terminal. So why we require so? Because here the current is getting splitted now into current flowing through resistor R1 and current flowing through resistor R2. So it will be difficult for us to analyze in terms of input circuit and the output circuit. So the output circuit is easily you can apply KVL, but the input circuit it's divided into two parts. So that's why we apply a Thevenin's equivalent at the base side, that is the B side over here. So what do we do is we get the Thevenin's equivalent resistance and Thevenin's equivalent voltage at the base terminal over here. Whereas if you see the collector side and the emitter side, it remains the same. There is no change. Only thing is that at the base side it becomes VTH and RTH. I think that is what Thevenin's equivalent do. The Thevenin's theorem, reduces the entire network into a RTH and into a voltage source in series with a resistance. So voltage source will have a value VTH and the resistance will have a value RTH. So let us analyze this now in detail. Okay, so after applying the Thevenin's equivalent at the base, the circuit looks as follows. So we will mark the various currents, terminal currents. So current flowing through, current entering the terminal collector is called as IC. Current entering the base terminal is called as IB. And current leaving the emitter terminal is called as IE. We also have marked the voltages between the base and the emitter as VBE and the collector and the emitter as VCE. So first of all, we need to find RTH and VTH. So RTH is given by R1 parallel to R2. Now I'm not going into details how that has come. So RTH will be R1 parallel to R2. So it will be 10K parallel to 1.5K. So you can work it out in the calculator. The value will come out to be 1.304 kilo. Now remember, don't leave it at 1.3. You always have a habit of writing up till 4 decimals or 3 decimals in the numerical answer. So now VTH similarly will be R2 upon R1 plus R2 into VCC. I am positive that you must have learned this in theory that basically it's VB only. VTH is basically VB. So how do you determine VB? VB will be R2 upon R1 plus R2 into VCC. So that's what we have written over here. So VTH will be R2 upon R1 plus R2 into VCC. You put the values. R2 value is around 1.5K and R2 is around 10K. R1 is around 10K. So if you work it out in a calculator, VTH will be 1.304 volts. Again, right up till 4 decimals. So now that we have the value of VTH and RTH, we apply the KVL in this loop. So what does the KVL says? KVL says if you go from this negative side of VB, so you will get VTH minus IB into RTH minus VBE minus IE times RE. Remember here the current flowing to resistor RE is IE. So again I repeat, KVL applied to the base emitter loop will give you VTH minus IB times RTH minus VB minus IERE is equal to 0. So that's what we are applying. Actually here it is 1.2, by mistake it is written as 2. So KVL applied to the base emitter loop of circuit 1.2, we get this VTH minus IB RTH minus VB minus IERE is equal to 0. Now we know that in BJT, emitter current is given by IB plus IC and IC is given by beta IB. So we can write IE is equal to 1 plus beta times IB That's what we have written over here. Now we collect all the terms of IB together. So we will get IB is equal to VTH minus VBE upon RTH plus 1 plus beta times RE. So take a moment to understand this equation. We have collected all the terms of IB together, and rest all the voltage terms we have pushed on one side, and that's how we get the value of current. Basically, it's if you see carefully, it is a voltage divided by resistance current. So the unit will be in amperes. So here we assume the value of VB as 0.7, VTH is 1.304, RTH will be 1.304 kilo ohms, and beta value, well, we have to take it as 100. Here it is given somewhere. No, let's consider the beta value as 200 basically. Yeah, we consider the beta value as 200. I forgot to give you the value earlier. So kindly consider the beta value as 200. So it will be 1.304 minus 0.7 divided by 1.304 kilo ohms plus 201 into RE is 150. So if you put that in the calculator, you will get IB as 19.204 into 10 raised to minus 6. So 10 raised to minus 6 is basically microamperes. Remember, that's one clue, that in a BJT, the current IB will come always in microamperes unless there is some drastic change. So that's the indicator to understand whether the value of IB is correct or not. So IBQ will be equal to, so this becomes my Q point value. IBQ will be equal to IB, which is equal to 19.2 microamperes. Now we know that ICQ is beta times IBQ. So just multiply this number by 200. You will get ICQ as 3.84 milliamperes. Okay, so very good. We have got the value of collector current. Now, similarly, we will apply the KCL at the output loop. So what does the KVL at the output loop gives us? KVL at the output loop gives us VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE is equal to 0. Okay, so that's what we have written over here. Again, this is circuit number 2. By mistake, it is written as 1.2. So over here, KVL applied to the base collector loop of circuit number 1.2 will be VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE is equal to 0. So that's what we have written over here. Now we know that in a BJT, the base current is very small. So the collector current will be approximately equal to the, the emitter current will be approximately equal to the collector current. Now if we put VCE on one side and rest all the terms on the other side, we get VCE is equal to VCC minus IC, and we can club this together because we have assumed IE is equal to IC. So VCE will be VCC minus IC times RC plus RE. So that's what we have written here. VCC is 10 volts. IC is 3.84 into 10 raised to minus 3 milliamperes. That's what 10 raised to minus 3 basically. No need to call it milliamperes because it's already multiplied by 10 raised to minus 3. The current RC, the resistance RC value is 1 kilo ohm. So 1 into 10 raised to 3. And RE value register is 150 ohms. So if you work it out in a calculator, this number will come out to be 5.584 volts. Okay, so this is the value of my Q point. My Q point will be VCQ comma ICQ. So that will be 5.584 volts comma 3.84 milliamperes. So that's my Q point of the circuit. Okay, now let us also calculate the stability factor. So for stability factor, for my voltage divider bias is given by the formula 1 plus beta upon 1 plus beta times RE upon RTH plus RE. So it will be 1 plus 200 divided by 1 plus 200 into 150 divided by 150 plus RTH will be 1.304 kilo ohms. So if you work out in the calculator, this number will be 9.29. So what is this S of ICO? So basically, how does my collector current change with the leakage current? So the stability factor is determining that key, how stable is my Q point against the variations in the leakage current ICO. So that's a very good point. So now what we will do is we will have to verify this in LT-Spice. So let us start building this circuit in LT-Spice. Okay, so I have already made the LT-Spice window open. So let me just reduce this. Okay, So let me adjust the screen and then we can begin. Okay, I'll keep it minimum right now. So I remember that this is my circuit. Let me make it 15% or maybe 20%. Okay, so I have to build the circuit that I want. So this is my LT-Spice window. You go to new schematic, and from here you need to take the various components. So from the component, go to component and type NPN and place it onto the screen. So that's the transistor NPN. Now we have to little bit minimize and attach the various various registers. So registers you can take it from here. You require one over here, one more over here. Then we require two registers, one over here and one over here. Now we join them with a wire. So it's pretty simple. Okay, and now we'll also connect the base part. So we have connected it over here. Yeah, that's it. And we need to just connect the VCC and the ground terminals. So here is my ground. And I will require to connect a supply. So I'll go to components, type the voltage. So I'll take a voltage and connect it over here and again connect it to the circuit so that my circuit is powered up. Okay. And now I'll place the ground over here. Yeah. So my circuit is ready. Yeah, that's simple. Now we'll label the circuit properly. So this is called as VCC and the supply is around 10 volts. So you right click and put a DC value of 10 volts. Okay. Now let us rename it as R1. So this is basically your R1 register, the biasing register. And this is of 10 kilo ohm value. So enter the value 10 kilo ohm. This is R2 and its value is 1.5 kilo ohm. Yeah. This is RC and its value is around 1 kilo ohm. And this is RE and its value is around 150 ohms. Okay, so my circuit is ready. Now we have to label the node terminals. So here we will label it as, to label the node, right click on the wire, click on label net and add the label over here as capital B. Similarly, we can add the label over here and here. So I'm adding it like this directly and I'll later on change it to capital C and capital E. Okay, so very good. My circuit is ready. Now I want to check my, let me reduce this a little. I think that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to define the value of beta, right? The beta over here for the circuit is 200. So how do I do that? So for this model, what we will do is, okay, let me just put it back. Yeah. So let me just run it like this. Yeah, what I was saying, we need to define the beta of the transistor that is here. So how do we do it? Right click, go to draft. There you see select a spice directive. So click on spice directive. So here what we need to do is we need to write the code. That is the dot model statement. So you write dot model npn1. Basically we have to rename it as npn1 and then the reserve word will come npn and then bracket. In order to write beta, it is reflected as bf in dot model. So bf equal to 100. That's it. And paste it onto the schematic. So for that, we need to change this to npn1 because it's calling that. So if you run this, this transistor will take a beta value of 200. So this is the method, this is the technique you will follow to give any value of beta. Okay, in the numerical and verified answers. So now we'll go to simulate and we need to check the values of, this is a comparison table which will be giving me the simulated value and the calculated value of IBQ, ICQ and VCEQ. So we have already find out the calculated values theoretically. So IBQ is coming out to be 19.2 microamperes, ICQ is 3.84 and VCQ is coming out to be 5.584 volts. So we will go to simulate in LT-Spice. If you want to check these conditions, you go to simulate, click on run So it will ask for the profile. So we need to go for DC operating point. Okay, so we go for DC operating point and click on OK. So the moment you do that, these values will come onto your screen. Okay, so I'll expand it like this. Fine. So let's check them one by one. My IBQ value is should be around 19.2 microamperes, and here I am getting around 15.9 microamperes. So it's quite a deviation, correct? So my expected value is 19.2, and I'm getting around 15.9. That's actually very deviation. ICQ should be 3.84. I'm getting 3.18 milliamperes. That's also quite a lot of deviation. VCEQ. So VCEQ should be 5.58 volts. Here it is somewhere around, VC value is this 6.8, and VE value is this. So 0.479. So we need to subtract VC minus VC to get VCE. So it will be close to around, let's say we have around 6.3 something, and we are getting around 5.58. Now you might wonder why we are getting so much of deviation. I'll help you out. Okay, so these are the values. So let's say if you want to, plot this, if you want to submit this circuit for your assignment, so you need to do one thing. You need to label the nodes against your name. So let me label it as, okay, and this as my name, and again this as underscore my name. So this will make sure that this is my circuit. And in order to give you a little more flexibility of those values, let me shift this register a little up. Okay, now it will be clearly visible. So always leave some space between the terminals and the registers. Yeah, and similarly this I will pull it down a little. You all also encouraged to do that, so that while submitting you will the plot will be the circuit diagram will be looking very clear. And also rename the circuit that this is a voltage divider bias circuit. So you can type this is voltage divider bias, and you need to also write your name. I am not doing that now. So this is a voltage divider bias circuit. Let me increase the font so that it's quite visible. Yeah. So this is my voltage divider bias circuit, and I'm rename it as base terminal, collector terminal, and emitter terminal as E B underscore my name, E underscore my name, and capital C underscore my name. So once I simulate this, so I'll get a window like this. So make sure that while plotting, while submitting the print screen, you do it this way. The circuit should be visible. Let me so the circuit is visible like this. Yeah, I think this is an extra wire which is coming up. Let me just check out. Yeah, the circuit was not connected. So I'll connect it over here. Whenever there is a connection, this dot will come basically. Okay. Now my circuit is ready. I am simulating now again. So whenever you submit the print screens, make sure that the circuit is visible and this operating point window is also visible with all the values, and you have to expand it so that it's visible a little bit like this. Right now I have my collector voltage, my emitter voltage, my base voltage, and all the terminal currents. So you have IB, IC, and IE, and you have collector voltage, base voltage. So the base voltage is around VBE will be around 1.28 minus 0.47. So that will be close to around 0.7. Correct. VC will be 6.81 minus 0.47. So it will be close to around 6.3 something. Okay. So but as you can see, these values are not at all matching with what we desire. I mean what we have got in calculated values. So why this is happening? Now I'll explain you. We have entered only one parameter of BJT. Actually, there are a lot of parameters of this BJT. So in order to select, in order to get the proper values, that is closer values, as I've written over here, what we need to do is we need to right click on this transistor and select pick a new transistor. So there you can select this transistor 2 and 2222. Here you can see if you scroll down, here there is a SPICE model. So here there is dot model, the transistor name is written, and then NPN. Same way as we have written. So our own transistor contains only beta value, but these transistors contain lot more parameters. So you can read IS. So this IS is the reverse saturation current. You might have heard of it. VF is the early voltage. You will be hearing about it soon. It's around 100. And see this BF. BF is around 200. So you select a transistor with a beta value of 200 over here. So these are all the parameters. So whenever you put all these parameters, only it will give you proper values of current. I mean the biasing current. So I've selected this transistor. So there is no meaning of this statement now. Okay. So basically we have selected the by default model of the transistor 2N2222. So right now if I simulate it again, I may get correct values. So yeah. So let me check once more. So what's the value of IC? IC I'm getting 3.9 milliamperes. Yeah. So that's close to 3.84. So I'm getting 3.909 milliamperes. The value of the base current is around, here I'm getting 18.88 microamperes and it's close to 19.2. See, now you're getting it correctly because you have added all the parameters of the transistor now. Earlier we have just added the beta value. Okay, now let us check the value of VCEQ. So VCE is VC minus VE. So it will be 6.09 minus 0.589. So that will come out to be 5.501 volt, and the calculated value is coming out to be 5.584 volts. Okay, so that's quite close. We are getting very close answers. So now all the values are coming very much nearby. Yeah. So this is the way to find the Q point value and all the parameters in LT-SPICE. So we have verified this. Now let's check something else. Let me go back to the PDF. Okay, fine, very good. So and also find the stability factor. So this is how we can determine the various operating points, and that is where the terminal voltages and terminal currents and the Q point. Now let us do one thing. Actually, why this Q point is required, I will tell you all. This will tell whether which operating region my transistor will be. So you must have studied the output characteristics of BJT. So output characteristics, whenever it intersects this DC load line. Now I will tell you shortly what is this DC load line and why what is the significance. Basically the Q point will lie on the DC load line. Okay. And whenever my output characteristics intersects with this, so let's say I am drawing like this. So let me annotate. So let's say I am drawing my output characteristics like this. Oh, let me select the color as let me select it as red. So you have studied output characteristics. Output characteristics, the curve is like this, correct? So whenever it intersects, we have a family of curve basically. So whenever it intersects this point is called as Q point. So let me just mark another color. Let me see it as yellow. So this point over here, the intersection basically is my Q point. So this point is my Q point. And Q point consists of VCEQ. Sorry, VCEQ. That's what we are finding, and we are finding ICQ. Okay, so that's my Q point. So the intersection of the output characteristics with this DC load line will give me Q point. Now, why Q point is important? Q point will and Q point basically ideally it should be at the center of the DC load line, correct? Now, why this is important? It will make sure that my transistor is working in a particular region. So that it will be useful for a further analysis. Let's say we want to build an amplifier. So my transistor has to remain in some particular region, maybe saturation region, maybe active region. So basically, let's consider it has to be in the active region. The transistor has to be the active region. So if the Q point is here, it will make sure that transistor remains in the active region with the help of this biasing technique. Okay, and it will stabilize. I mean, what do you mean by stabilization? I mean, the Q point should not change. So the Q point should remain, because if my Q point changes, my transistor will go from one operating region to another operating region. That will, it might go from active region to saturation or active region to cutoff. That's why my Q point should remain stable at this point. And where is my Q point located? My Q point is located on the DC load line. And normally, how much, where it should be? It should be at the center. So that's the concept of this DC load line and the Q point. Okay, let me clear this now. Okay, good. So we are back to the PDF. So we need to find the coordinates of this DC load line intersection. We need to find this coordinate and this coordinate over here. So let us first find the equation for this DC load line. So we need to rewrite the expression of VC. So remember, we have written the expression of the output, the VC in terms, we have applied the output KVL, and we got VCC minus ICRC minus VCE minus IERE equal to 0. So that's what we write over here. And we will rearrange this equation such that IC is on this side and rest all the quantities on that side. So IC, if you put it on the left hand side and all the quantities on the right hand side, we get, and we'll divide by RC upon RE. So we'll get VCC upon RC plus RE minus VCE upon RC plus RE. So now if we just rearrange this equation as follows, so you will get IC is equal to, we just separate this term, it will be minus RC minus 1 upon RC plus RE into VC plus VCC upon RC plus RE. Now you remember, we have a familiar equation of the equation of the straight line, which is given by y is equal to mx plus c. So this is exactly this. IC is y. So basically IC is in the y-axis, VC is in the x-axis. So hence IC is y. This m, the slope is minus 1 upon RC upon RE. So the slope of this line is minus, it will be negative, and its value is minus 1 upon RC plus RE. So if you plot, if you try to plot it on the graph paper, you will, and if you substitute these values, you'll get exact slope properly. So into VCE, correct? VCE is my x, and my y-intercept is my VCC upon RC plus RE. So that's the value. This intercept is this height over here is my VCC upon RC plus RE. So basically, it's a current. If you can see carefully, this is voltage upon resistance. This will be current, and this also will be a current. So this is the equation of my DC load line, and this is in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So this is representing this line. Now we have to find the coordinates at x-axis and y-axis. You will get 2 points, right? So x and y coordinate at this point and x and y coordinate at this point. So how to determine that? So to determine the coordinate of the intersection, we'll again come back to this equation. VC is equal to VCC minus IC times RC plus RE. So for the first scenario, we'll put the value of IC as 0. So if you put the value of IC as 0, you will get a VCE as VCC. So the first point will be 10 volt comma 0, right? So this is the first point. And the second point, we substitute VC equal to 0. Okay, when you substitute VC equal to 0, you will get IC as VCC upon RC plus RE. So you substitute the values 10 divided by 1 kilo ohm plus 150. So you'll get the value close to 8.6956 milliamperes. So the IC value is this. So the second coordinate is 0, 8.6956 milliamperes. So what it means is, it means this. Right now we have find out the coordinates as 10, 0 and 0, 8.6956. So that translates into this, these two coordinates. So if I want to plot a load line, right? I want 2 points. In order to plot a line, we require 2 points. So these are the 2 points coordinate. So one of the coordinate is 0, 8.6956 milliamperes, and other coordinate is 10, 0. So if you have these coordinates, you just draw a line. So that line is called as your DC load line. Okay. Now let us plot the Q point. We know that ICQ right now we have evaluated it as around 3.84, and VCQ is 5.584. So let's try to plot this point on the DC load line. So you determine this ICQ will be on the y-axis. So this is 3.84 milliamperes, right? And this will be 5. 5 VCQ value will be 5.84 volts. So if you extend it on the DC load line, this will be my Q point basically. So as you can see, for voltage divider biasing, if you can see carefully, the Q point is normally operated at the available at the almost at the center of the DC load line. Okay, so this is the Q point, and that's how we locate it on the DC load line. Now let us do one thing. Let us try the same thing in LT-Spice. So I'll go to LT-Spice and I'll try to plot this Q point on the DC load line basically. So I'll close this. So for plotting it, what we will do is we will deactivate this dot operating point for some time. So for deactivating, I'll just write has at the start star. So that means that means it will make it deactivated. Okay. Now I will run this circuit again. Okay, it will ask for my transient analysis. Just give any value of 10 milliseconds. So the new window will come up. So in the new window, x-axis we want it as VCQ, right? So we'll right click and we call it as VC of, we have named it as my name. So I'll type it as this minus VE. So basically, again, I have to do it this way. Okay. And I click on OK. So I'll get a window of VC minus VE, right? And I'll right click and I have to plot IC now. So search from here IC of Q1. Yeah, this is my IC of Q1. Okay. Now, and if you see carefully, this will be my Q point. Okay. Now, if you see this point value, I can show it to you. So I right click over here and I see this value. Okay. So how much is this? I can see the X and Y coordinate with this label. So this is 3 point. Let me just show you. Yeah. So ICQ value, simulated value is 3.909 milliamperes. Here you're getting 3.909 milliamperes. And VCQ is 5.501. So 5.501. See these values exactly you are getting it over here. Okay. And that's how I think actually it's a relative Q point. It's a very small value, but it's okay. We are getting a part of it basically. We are not plotting the entire value. We are just plotting the part. So that's how we get the Q point value, and that's how we observe it over here. So this x-axis is my VCE, and y-axis is my IC. So that's how my Q point is, and these are my Q points. So that's how we observe it in LT-Spice. Okay, now let's go back to this. One last thing is remaining. After we complete that, then we will complete this discussion. Again, I go to .op and I remove this .tran. Okay, so here is my circuit. Okay, now we will do what we will show that you must have learned in the theory that voltage divider bias is tolerant to beta variation. That means even if I vary the value of beta, my Q point will not deviate much. My Q point will remain almost stable. So how to do that? We need to select the 3 values of beta. So we have done already for beta equal to 200, that we are getting the value of ICQ as 3.909 milliamperes and VCQ as 5.584 volts. Now what we will do is we'll go to the circuit and we'll select these different values of beta. See, beta value is 120 over here and 300 over here. So how do we do that? We'll again go back to the circuit and we'll select a transistor which is having a beta value of 120 now or 300. So we need to search over here a little. Okay, the second option is only beta value 300. You see, I'll click on OK and click on OK over here. So this transistor will have a beta value of 300. Again, I repeat. So right click over here, pick a new transistor. You see this transistor 2N3904. And if you scroll this way, right hand side, you'll get beta as 300. You click on OK. So when I simulate the circuit for the same parameters, I should get the value of ICQ and VCQ. Okay. So here it is. ICQ is coming out to be, is the device current. Basically, it's coming out to be 3.968. So 3.968 milliamperes, and VCEQ will be VC minus VE. So that will be 6.03 minus 0.59. That comes out to be 5.433 volts. So you see, it's coming quite near. I mean, it's slightly deviating, but it's still nearby this value. Okay, so that's how we determine the Q point value for beta. It's equal to 300. Now let's check it for 120. So again, we right click on the transistor, pick a new transistor, and search for a transistor having a beta value as, let's search it over here. So let's search, yeah, we got it. Beta value as 120. So this is the transistor BCW660A, and we click on OK. Now again, if we simulate, we will get the values of corresponding values of VCE and IC. So IC is coming out to be 3.8911. So 3.8911 milliamperes, and VCE is 6.11 minus 0.588. So that value, if you work out in a calculator, that will come out to be 5.52 volts. Okay, so that's how we can find these values. If you see carefully, the beta, the ICQ values are not deviating much. It's around about 3.9, right? And the VCQ also, it's around about 5.5. So if you see, even if you change the beta drastically, so I'm changing the beta from 120 to 200 to 300, still my Q point is not deviating much. That is the proof that the voltage divider bias is tolerant to beta variations. Okay, so that's it for this session. We have discussed today how to theoretically determine the values of your Q point if the register values and the supply voltage is given to you, and we have seen that how to calculate in the LT spice and verify these terminal voltages and currents and the Q point value. Then we have also seen how to plot how to plot this DC load line and the equation of that, and also to determine the coordinates of it. We have plotted a DC load line with the coordinates, with the two coordinate points, with the 2 points of the on the output on the VC versus IC plot, and we have also seen this curve on the LT spice. And we have lastly we have varied the value of beta, and it is observed that the circuit is tolerant for beta variations. That means my ICQ and VCQ value will not change much. So that's a lot of learnings from this. So you got to learn a lot of things, and we have analyzed this voltage divider bias circuit in LT spice. So this way your LT spice tool will help us a lot in determining a lot of things. So that's it for today's lab. Next time we'll study some other biasing circuit. Until then, have a good day and thank you.